Tim, the professional vlogger here in Boise, Idaho. Now, what am I doing here in Boise, Idaho? Well, I'm actually at the Boise State Esports department, and I'm going to come and check out how they're using vMix. So let's go ahead and go on inside. Here we are in this crazy complex. We've got this massive area of computers. We've got famous alum on the walls. We've got trophy cabinets, all sorts of crazy stuff. So I think I'm going to have to try and find Doc. That's not him. I'm going to have to try and find him, and then we're probably going to do an interview in the studio. So let's go ahead and see if we can find him. Hello, I am currently in Boise. People ask me, why am I in Boise? Well, I am here with Doc Haskell. Haskell or Haskells?
It works.
Is it?
Singular.
Singular.
There's only one of me.
Yes, I'm here with Doc Haskell at the Boise State Esports department, I guess I would call it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the Boise Esports department.
Well, we're in our facility here, which is a 7,000 square foot esports battleground and arena. It's the training center, it's the broadcast center, it's the competition center, as you see behind us. We are a college and university unit that just supports the competitive esports program here. We have about 30 students on scholarship, another 25 employees that we get ready to compete against all the folks in the games that we play. We play 5 different games.
What games do you play?
Overwatch, Rocket League, Halo, Valorant, and Smash. We're also former national champions in Madden, which is an American football game.
I am actually aware of Madden. I played it many years and have thrown many controllers due to that game.
Then you've played it at a high level, high enough level to throw a controller.
Well, that's how I like to see it, at least. How long have you been running the esports department here?
6 years. This is our 6th year. Competitive, believe it or not, over 1,000 wins as a program. You know that scene in Interstellar where they go down to Miller's planet and 27 years go by. Esports is a lot like that. We're 300 plus matches a year. There seems to be always one going on. So although only 6 years, it's the equivalent of half a lifetime for anybody else.
I've been walking around the place, and
yes.
I did notice the trophy cabinet. Feel free to tell everybody a little bit about the trophies that you have won here at Boise State.
We've been really fortunate in that 6 years. We've won 11 conference titles and 4 national titles.
Wow.
And a number of broadcast awards, which is pretty dang cool.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
Do you offer like broadcasting curriculum as a part of the esports department?
So we don't actually offer direct classes in it. Our communications department does offer those courses, and it's a great degree of study. They can come down here and actually do the practical work. We pay our production staff to do the thing that they get trained to do. Some of them, it's their major. Others, it's a hobby that they just love. And we produce about 30 hours of live new content a week, so they get plenty of practice.
Yeah, I can imagine so. As you can see, there's a lot kind of going on. And like you said, how many 30 hours a week worth of content?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's impressive. So most people that are probably watching this are going to be curious regarding the actual production side of things. Now, I have seen your production studio. In fact, somebody is recording this interview as we speak and switching it for us.
There he is, and he waves.
Thank you.
That's Coach Moore.
Yeah, and so that's the current studio, and as you can see, we do have some vMix mouse pads there.
Absolutely.
It's probably going to be easiest to maybe, oh, there we go.
Yes.
Easiest to actually maybe go in there and go through that yourself. But on a typical sort of show that you do, how many cameras do you have? Are you using replay? What sort of system? How are you controlling it?
You bet. So we use a double vMix system in there. We use the a standard 140 some odd input build that accesses a number of different things, and on your site there's our whole nerdy equipment list. Essentially, we produce on a primary machine and we develop replay on a secondary machine, which pass channels back and forth to each other so that we can push replay into, and there's our battleground right now, about a 44-seat gaming center in our building here, and you see some large pictures of some of our more famous graduates and students, All-Americans and national champions. Essentially, we produce side by side with a broadcast producer and a replay producer who's developing social media all throughout the broadcast and player highlights and all those things that we then push live. How many cameras? Gosh, probably a dozen. Dozen cameras currently, but the correct formula for number of cameras that you need is n+1.
Absolutely.
So we're looking, and we've got more inputs that we can put them into our constellation, and so we want more cameras so that because we have more inputs.
No one ever says, "Can I take a camera away?"
No, and one of the things, as we look in this room, one of the things we're really excited about doing is we want to engineer our own spider cam, wired spider cam that will sit in the middle of this space, just connected to our trussing, and allow us to fly around essentially with a lightweight spider cam in this space.
Very cool. I'll have to come back to check
will.
that out
you
for
have,
sure.
Have to fly it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. For anybody that knows, back in my office, I don't have the drone license because of the inherent issues that come with me flying a drone.
I remember there was an episode. There was an episode where you did some drone flying, and then there was never another episode with you doing drone flying.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. It was kind of an interior thing. It never really panned out for me to be doing it properly. So yeah, I really do appreciate you showing me around.
Oh, we love that you came all this way.
It's a really awesome setup here. In Boise, and anything that we're going to do a tour, and I'll let you talk through the tour as well. But if there's anybody that's out there, like a younger person that's trying to go into college, is there anything that you want to kind of tell them? Stare down the barrel of this camera right here, and tell them exactly what you want to share with them.
I mean, honestly, this if you love this space, if you love the gaming space, you just love the television space, dive in wherever you have an opportunity. If there's no opportunity, make your opportunity. There's always somebody out there who would love the skills of somebody who just is excited by this kind of stuff, and dive in and do it. I mean, we take students, every year that come from all over the U.S., and I think now we'll start seeing more from all over the world, but always find an opportunity to do the things you're passionate about, and a profession, a career, opportunities, they follow you and surround you. So
awesome. And you yourself, you weren't a broadcast engineer or a gaming expert or anything prior to becoming what you are today, eh?
No. People say, what's your secret? It's unhealthy work-life balance. Just pursuing the things.
Don't tell people that.
Pursuing the things that excite you, and learning as much about them as you possibly can.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with being obsessed about learning something new.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I really do appreciate your time. Anyone that wants to contact you or anything? What's your best? Are you on the internets anywhere?
I'm sure I am. Just at Haskell on Twitter is probably the easiest way. But if you look up Boise State Esports, you can't miss us. Okay, and I'm getting to hold this really cool vMix mic flag. So this is the Boise State Esports control room. This is a dedicated esports broadcasting control room. We do about 30 hours a week with our student staff and casters. Right now, we've got some of our broadcasters out on desk. But everything flows from live cameras. We have very little NDI in this space. Most of it is wired directly into this Constellation, ATEM Constellation 4ME. Which you see displayed on a number of these monitors. Don't let it fool you. TVs are only about $170 a piece. You can make a control room look fabulous with just a handful of TVs. But it flows into our primary broadcast computer right here, which is where most of the work is done. There's an 8-port Blackmagic card in there, which is taking 8 inputs directly from the Constellation. Our technical director right here has about 140 inputs that they manage from this space, and is able to bring in the different observer PCs. We have 2 in this room, and we can bring in several others from outside if we need more in-game cameras. But the direct relationship with this person and this person is Zach is our replay director, and he is producing replays during the event on a separate installation of vMix that serves as the replay machine. And they just did 3 short 3-second clips, which require manual process to create. All of our sound comes into this relatively simple Look L12 board. The reason we like this is because it has 6 different mixes, headphone mixes out, which allows us to give the arena a different sound. Our broadcast monitor in here allows us to have the full truth sound of the broadcast, and then give the casters themselves essentially their version of a mix minus, so that they hear themselves in real time and the game sound with that slight delay. All of the sound then just gets routed straight through the system, through individual inputs to our stream. We have streamed using a web presenter in the past. Right now, this computer is beefy enough. We like to push the stream through this machine because it's beefy enough. This is a 3080 Kingpin version of that card, and we like it a lot. We do have a person who will sit in this spot and manage sound at times, and live cameras, because we have about 12 cameras. 6 of them are PTZ. They're PTZ optics, either 20 or 30X. And then we have a number of other cameras set up that are static. We even have a wireless Hollyland HDMI set up so that we can have a fully wireless walkabout camera. But I think the most interesting thing that people would really be impressed with, I would think, is that our replay manages all of the social media that we create, which means students have capture targets. They're putting together all the social media that we create, top 5s, players of the game, player highlight packages, so that they can be used in broadcast, but also so they can be exported and directly uploaded to our aggregators for the purpose of pushing directly out onto social media. And we do between 10 and 20 different pieces a week of video that we don't produce in post. We produce live for the purpose of pushing out on social media. We show them on the show, but really they're for social media. And that's what a dedicated replay operator allows you to do. We can do replay on a single machine and use it meaningfully, but we can get a lot more out of it by putting somebody smart in that position. Gosh, Tim, have I answered all the questions you can think of?
What controllers do you have?
Oh, controller-wise. So we have quite a few of the X keys, different versions of the X keys. We've got basically the replay controller, the paddle controller over there, 2 different Stream Deck, and Zach, can you pull it out of the drawer down there? We've got a nuclear panic button that we use from time to time. We've got 2 of those, in fact. We don't have one set up right now, but I think every control room needs a, press in case of emergency kind of button. We use I think a 3rd generation Huddle Cam controller, although I think we want to get the new Joy version of it. Oh, capturing the screens right now just goes directly into the ATEM Constellation 4ME, and we have a number of other machines that can come in there. We could, if we needed to, capture every machine on stage and bring it in and select from it, but since most of the games operate from the observer position, we can have an in-game observer, spectator, manage the in-game cameras. And usually we have this set up, it's just one right now, but usually we have it set up in a 2 observer scenario where one is the point of view camera and the other is a fly camera, so we can capture all the nice moments of, from overhead and be able to take those without bouncing back and forth. We have an actual studio space set up in another part of the building that we use more for like a interview set and things like that that connects to this room. But this is primarily the control room where most of the stuff happens. I'll tell you one thing that I think is kind of interesting. So if you look here, you'll see our stage in there in the arena, and we've got the two teams' logos on these monitors, and we use the multiple outputs in vMix to be able to send separate details to those. Coach, will you switch it back over to the event logo? And that can all be scripted, so we can decide what goes on these monitors, and we'll go back to the game look now, which will show you those, and we can switch back to the team look if we want to, or really send anything to those screens just using vMix outputs, because all those assets are in there. And I'm excited to see what everybody else comes up with, because this works really well for us, but I'm sure there'll be comments in the on any kind of video that would say, oh, well, have you thought about this?
So definitely try and track down Doc if you want to tell him all about your setup as well.
Yeah, would love to know about your setup.
Cool, thanks. Well, I think that's about it from me from Boise, Idaho. A huge thanks to Doc and Coach Moore and staff at the Boise State Esports department. It's really good to check out one of the premier esports and premier esports broadcasting college departments here in the US. So I really do appreciate it. I'll leave out all the information about the Boise Esports department here on the screen somewhere, so future Tim can do that. And yeah, so thanks for joining me, and I'm going to leave you with some of the sounds of the Boise River as I make my way home.